Welcome to Unboxing. My name is Rafael Escobedo, and on this video we're going to talk about the previews and predictions of Miguel Cotto versus Saul Canelo Alvarez.
No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. We're the renegades in this atomic age.
It's the last quarter of the year, and the big fight, but the biggest fight that's going to happen, what everybody's been waiting for a good while, it's been going on since the summer, is Miguel Cotto versus Saul Canelo Alvarez. And the reason why this is one of the bigger fights is the guys that are out there in the top middleweight, they're fighting each other, and what this is supposed to do is whoever wins out of this fight, Miguel Cotto versus Canelo Alvarez, is supposed to be fighting the winner of the Triple G versus David Lemieux fight. And if you saw that fight, you saw that David Lemieux got his ass beat by jabs from Triple G. I got outboxed by his punches. David Lemieux couldn't get to Triple G at all. Triple G said his punches kind of did hurt, but either way, it didn't make him a fight. You saw the predictions that I made for that fight. You know the reasons why. And we're coming to these two fighters, Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez, and there's a lot of experience between them. Even though Canelo Alvarez is still young, he fought on a professional level for a long time. Even though he started off young, he still needed more experience. If you saw the way he fought against Mayweather, he wasn't there yet. And another thing too, I'm not sure it has to do with his training camp or something, but how are you going to fight Mayweather thinking he's going to fight toe-to-toe? He hasn't done that since Castillo fight, the first one. And for you not to know how to cut the ring against Mayweather, not even try to do it, or not even training, because you didn't even see nothing that was ready for that fight. So he was unexperienced, and I guess for some reason he thought Mayweather was going to fight toe-to-toe. I don't know where he got that idea from, but that was just dumb thinking. He should just train for the worst, which is basically him a moving around lad. He actually kind of schooled Canelo in boxing. We'll go ahead and just talk about that, more of the comparisons of Mayweather. And one of the fights is against, each of them fought against Mayweather. We'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit later on. This fight everybody's been waiting for because the top 160 pounders are going to unite their belts. Miguel Cotto, Canelo, Triple G, David Lemieux. And after seeing that ass whooping that Triple G did on David Lemieux, these guys kind of like backing out now. Now they're talking about, or at least the promoters are, now they're talking about fighting the winner of Tim Bradley and Brandon Rios. And Tim Bradley won, and he's a 147. Not only that, he's pretty strong for his weight class, 147, but he's kind of short, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out at 160 pounds. But these guys ain't that tall either. They're around 5'8", 5'9". I think I don't even know if Canelo's not even hitting. He's like 5'9", 5'10". I don't think he's even 5'10". But these guys are short middleweights, stout though. They hold their ground in the weight division. And they always talk about how Miguel Cotto really talks about how he's not really a 160 pounder. He always comes in weighing at 155. Canelo around there, somewhere around there too. But actually Canelo's a little bit bigger than Miguel Cotto. But he's closer to 160 than the promoters trying to make him look like, because now they're trying to talk about fighting Tim Bradley, the winner out of this. And I think it's one of the reasons why is because K2 Promotions, European promotions that promotes Triple G, and I guess they don't want to deal with them. And De La Hoya and Rock Nation, Jay-Z, I don't know who actually runs the boxing side promotions for Rock Nation, but they will go ahead and just take the easy route and fight Tim Bradley, which it don't make no sense. I mean, Tim Bradley does deserve to fight the top 147 pounders, but 147 pounders I don't think should move up weight. He should fight like Sean Porter, Amir Khan, all those other fighters out there. He got the belt. He should go ahead and just stay there for a little bit. And if he wants to fight 154 later on, they'll go ahead and do that. So yeah, it looks like they're whistling out on trying to fight Triple G, because Triple G, he dominated David Lemieux. Another thing too, I'm pretty sure De La Hoya got his butt hurt for David Lemieux not winning that fight. So he kind of don't like the idea he had. Now he has like another 50-50 chance that his promotion is going to be on that big title fight, and I guess he don't want to risk it or something. He wants to fight Tim Bradley. I don't know, but that's kind of funny. Triple G again he's trying to fight everybody he can. Andre Ward supposedly set him up a challenge to fight, and he shut it down, which is understandable because Triple G is not really up there yet. 168 pounds. Andre Ward talks about he can't even make 168. That he wants to fight light heavyweight, which they're trying to push for a surrogate fight next year. But at the same time, Andre Ward can't even be healthy 100% of the time. So he's been fighting almost a year and a half, 2 years now without fighting because of injuries, Andre Ward. And it's kind of funny how And the other fights, they're talking about how Andre Ward is the pound for pound, one of the pound for pound fighters, even though he has fought in a year and a half. That makes a difference. If you're gonna be pound for pound, you gotta be active. And if you're getting hurt all the time, it doesn't make you a qualified fighter. And he could retire. He could probably retire again. He probably missed more action because of that. And it's kind of dumb. I now know why, because HBO signed him with a contract to go ahead and re-sign him for an extension to be an HBO fighter. Whichever, I don't even know what that means anymore. Back then, they used to have a lot of HBO fighters. And the main one was Mayweather. And Mayweather, now he's Showtime. Now he's free. Now he's not doing nothing. But then again, this is going to be a good fight. As always, that Mexico against Puerto Rico, see who wins and stuff like that. And of course, I'm always going to go for Mexico. I'm Mexican. And Puerto Rico always has a lot of good fighters, a lot of great fighters. Miguel Cotto is one of them. Tito Trinidad, and lots more. And Mexico, of course, J.C. Chavez. If you could kind of sign, Juan Manuel Marquez. The Mexican has other fighters. Puerto Rico has a lot of good fighters from all these Latin countries. The fight's going to be November 21st. It kind of sucks. The same day as one of my best friend's wedding, so I don't know how I'm going to do that. I don't know if he's going to be okay for me missing like 2 hours of his, I guess it'll be the dance hall, so I already did that. Yeah, well, I'll figure it out later on. So hopefully you don't get mad. But same time as the weekend before Thanksgiving, a lot of people like to do the Netflix and chill, run that week, have time off from work, and it's the cold weather, they just want to chill. But another thing they could do is go ahead and watch that fight. They got nothing else going on. They're gonna just chill and stay at the house. Go ahead and get this fight and see what else is going on with that. And Andre Ward was supposed to fight on the undercard, and he got hurt. It'd be better to have other good fighters on there for the undercard, but doesn't work. That's good enough for right now. We're trying to recuperate from the Maypac fight, and a lot of people are, because $100 they paid for that fight. And yes, I'm gonna keep on bringing it up because it was dissatisfied with everything that went with the officials. Pacquiao, Mayweather did what he's supposed to do, but yeah, a little bit too late. But it's all good, It's the game, I guess, when it comes down to it, and making that money. And I'm going to go ahead and just go down the comparisons, what I'm going to do with the fight. And the comparison I'm going to go by is basically I'm comparing both of them by their defense, by their conditioning, by their offense, speed. Put that together. I already did it because the speed does help out a lot with the offense. Boxing intelligence and trainer. Boxing intelligence, what the actual boxer has, what he got in the ring, and the trainer and what they do within the training camp and between rounds. And also another thing I'll go by is by the opponents, and that's how I know what kind of fighter you are by your previous and your experience and the opponents you fight and what the level they are, and it kind of shows what the fighter's the level they are. And them fighting the same fighter does help a lot, comparing them to. So that's one thing I was going to do, talk about Mayweather. And the first category we're going to go ahead and talk about is defense. Canelo Alvarez, he saw his last fight, doesn't really have that much defense. I mean, he does have defense when he wants to, but he's the kind of person that go ahead and take a punch to land a big punch or two. One of the things is he was landing more than he was taking, so that was all good. You don't have to worry about getting hurt so much, but he did get hit a lot, just because everybody knew what kind of fight it's going to be. James Kirkland, he wanted to show how powerful he is. He could knock out another. I won't say James Kirkland is a big power puncher, but he's a strong fighter. Even though Canelo did get hit a lot with James Kirkland, he did land a lot on his opponent, but that's one of the things that he does. I guess another thing like Triple G, if you saw the other predictions I talked about, he'll go ahead and take a punch just to make it a fight. Canelo Alvarez does have good defense. Is it great? Good? It's basically almost like just average. He does some little bit of movements here and there. One of the things that I'm going to go ahead and talk about in a little bit. I'll go ahead and talk about it now. It's basically his lateral movements. Yeah, when he moves side to side, when the opponents come at him, he just goes back instead of just pivoting to the left, to the right. And he does that, but he don't do it as much. Because if you're going straight right back, if you're moving back, you're just waiting for the guy to go ahead and land that punch on you, instead of just moving to the left or moving to the right. And he does move his head a little bit. He does duck and does all that good stuff, but real basic, nothing spectacular. On the Miguel Cotto side, if you do see him, he does move lateral movements. He does move his head. He does get in rhythm with his defense. He gets in a little zone where he's able to duck, and he got real good defense. Let's put it that way. And that's one of the things they've been using a lot. Somebody that is not that young anymore, not able to move as much, or not able to throw as much punches, and probably not able to take as much punches. That's one of the things he's gonna be using a lot in his defense. And if you saw the Mayweather's game plan, that's one thing that he won. He ended up winning with Canelo making him miss and chasing him down. Canelo chasing Mayweather down. It just shows Miguel what he needs to do against Canelo. Real stubborn, is go ahead and go at you without any kind of defense, waiting to without going in fighting without any defense, swinging toe to toe. And that's something that Miguel Cotto is going to do. Is just go ahead and just box him out, move around, and jab him, and just use his defense. That's one of his keys. And let's go ahead and talk about conditioning. Miguel Cotto, he's 35, 36 years old. You've seen his previous fights. He's been with other strength and conditioning coaches. They've been helping him out. So he'll up there take care of himself. He does eat healthy. If you see some of his 24/7s, he's cooking good and all that stuff. He takes good care of himself. He's conditioning wise. He knows that's part of his plan. One of the things he did a lot was after he turned 30 years old, is his conditioning and his eating. So that does a lot of good for him. But one of the things is you never know who's going to go over the hill. When conditioning, training, strength condition doesn't even help. He hasn't really been that much active. He fought 2 fights in the last year and a half. One against Aguil, and then the other one against Sergio Martinez, who was already retiring. I'll go ahead and talk about that more later on. He hasn't been that much active to see what he's able to do. So we'll go ahead and find that out November 21st, what he's able to do. If his condition is still there, he's still taking care of himself. Is that good enough for his age? Is that going to help him out? And Saul Canelo Alvarez, basically he's young. He's like 25 years old, and he don't look like he's going over the hill anytime soon. He does do good conditioning, and I don't know what his eating habits are, but he does good conditioning. If you see some of his videos or some of his workouts, even you see in the ring, he throws a lot of punches, a lot of power punches, and he's not tired. He does that all 12 rounds. And the previous, he has gotten tired towards the end of the rounds, but that has been changed a little bit. I think he kind of understands what he needs to do to control that, because if you're gonna be throwing a lot of punches, power punches in the beginning of the rounds, you are gonna get tired no matter how good condition you are. So I'm pretty sure he's learning how to spread that out through his 12 rounds if he's gonna make it. But at the same time, he's always trying to go for the kill, so he's gonna throw all those power punches if he has a chance, and if he's able to see it against Miguel Cotto. So basically, the conditioning for both of them, I would say, is the same. The only thing it comes down to is if Miguel Cotto doesn't go over the hill overnight, and it does happen, but I'm not sure it's going to happen this time. He's still young, but he does had a big fight, Miguel Cotto. So it's kind of hard to actually predict that, especially somebody like Canelo Alvarez going to be throwing a lot of volume punches, and he's going to be going at him. So see how that works out. But conditioning, they're both the same. So far we got right now defense. Miguel Cotto is a little bit better on that. Conditioning, they're both the same. Offense and speed. Another thing, we'll go ahead and just talk about it right off the bat. Like I said, Canelo Alvarez throws a lot of punches. He likes to throw a lot of power punches, and I won't say they're fast or the speed. Sorry, I was popping my knuckles. I won't say they're fast or the speed, but he does the explosives, and he beats you to the punch. Something like I don't know if you remember how Juan Manuel Marquez. He's not the fastest person, but he'll pop those jabs and he'll beat Pacquiao being the first to put those punches. And that's one thing that Canelo will do. He got the explosion, he got that power, and he's able to throw 100. If he can, he'll barely be able to throw 100 punches around. But against Cotto, you probably want to do that, because Cotto's defense. One of the things I forgot to mention is defense. Miguel Cotto is real good on his counter punches. So Canelo Alvarez, speed, power, offense. It looks real good, real explosive. That's one of the reasons why it's going to be a real entertaining fight. And in his age, he's able to do that, and he's able to get away with it. And hopefully it works for him this time around. And the reason he's throwing a lot of punches is because he's landing and not because it's missing. If he's missing, Miguel Cotto can go ahead and take advantage of that and go ahead and counter with some power left hooks. And talking about left hooks, Miguel Cotto is naturally left-handed, so that's why he throws a lot of left hooks, and that's why you see that he barely throws that hook. He just barely throws that hook and just tags the person. You saw the Sergio Martinez fight; he knocked him down so many times. He just barely throws that hook, and he's naturally left-handed, so that's a heavy hand already. A real plus. A lot of fighters, Tito Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya, they all have they're all left-handed, and they fight with the right-hand stance, which helps them not throw a lot of jabs and throw a lot of powerful hooks. Miguel Cotto does have a good straight right hand, and he sets it up pretty good. He's a real good boxer. That's part of his offense. His speed. He used to be, I won't say his speed is real good, but he used to put his punches together real good. But you're not seeing that. You're seeing more setting up and boxing more now in his offense. And he's going ahead and just going by that. One of the things with his offense is also his good boxing skills. And I'll go ahead and get into more of that in the next category. But right now, for offense and speed, who got the advantage? I think Canelo does, because his quantity of punches, his explosive, and his age. I mean, I don't know. So that's the reason why you don't see a lot of old people in sports. It's just hard to carry that around. And young people are gonna have the advantage of doing that, and also have the energy and the conditioning to get away with it. The only thing is the difference, and we'll be in the next category on the offense. Even though Miguel Cotto, like I said, he doesn't have the hook. He does have a straight good right. He don't put them together as much as Canelo does, and Canelo doesn't get tired. So it's kind of see how that's going to work. It's not going to be a high power punching from Miguel's side, but from Canelo it is, and it just depends if Canelo's going to land those or not. So next we're going to boxing intelligence and trainer. Boxing intelligence, I tell you, is basically what the fighter himself has in the ring, what he's able to do, and the trainer just his coach and what they're capable of doing and what they get out of the fighter during training camps and between the rounds. And Miguel Cotto, straight off the back, one of the best boxing fighters out there. And if you seen him fight Sugar Shane, he outboxed him. If you see him pick apart Paulie Malignaggi, which he gave him like broken jaw, I think broken ribs, fractured eye socket. He knows how to take a fighters apart. And it's kind of hard to tell the last couple of fights, because he fight Gil and Sergio Martinez. Sergio Martinez is somebody that he was already going out. His knees were messed up, his ankles messed up. He was already torn up, even though he didn't get as much fights professional level like Miguel Cotto and Canelo did. He was getting old, and that's it. Like I said, age. Even though he had that many wars in his boxing career, at least against big name fighters, age is going to take advantage of it, and it's going to knock you down before the opponent is. Boxing intelligence, like I said, Miguel Cotto, he knows to set up, pick apart fighters. He knows how to move lateral movements. He's able to make those changes within the ring. You don't have to wait for his trainer to be telling him anything. And in his career, he's been having a great trainer. His uncle, who threw a center block at his ass a while back, which after he fired him, he's a good trainer. I think he was one of the best trainers he had. And then he went to some Olympian coaches, and he went to other coaches. Freddie Roach, what he does with a lot of fighters, he makes sure that those fighters throw a lot of punches. Offense is one of the things that he trains, and that's one of the things that Miguel Cotto needs around this time of his career. Throw a lot of punches, because you never know, the defense may not be good enough. And Miguel Cotto doesn't need to wait on Freddie Roach to be telling him what to do between rounds or during the fight, screaming at him, which he probably can't do, because last time he used to have a reason. I don't know who he got now to helping out, screaming. And let's go with Canelo's boxing intelligence trainer. Basically, he just works off of a feel. You could tell, you see the way he fights in the ring. If he got an opening, he's going to go ahead and attack it. He does have real basic, average boxing skills. And like I said before, basic doesn't mean you have low skills. You have everything you need to do. Basic is called basic because that's what you need to win the fights in boxing. If you lose your basic fights, and you even though you have this kind of freestyle flash fighting style and stance and defense, if you lose your basics, like keep your chin down, keep your hands up, you don't get hit, and that's game over. One of the things that doesn't look good with the Canelo is when he lands a lot of punches, he's not able to knock him out. That's probably because he tries real hard in the beginning rounds. By the time he's able to time for the knockout, he don't have that energy to go ahead and knock him out for the inner rounds. Even though he did good against James Kirkland, he wasn't able to do that with other good fighters. But so hopefully something has changed. But you can see something different with Canelo right now. He's getting more intense. I guess it's getting maturing up, that he can't just rely on his youth all the time. That he's gonna have to use to have boxing skills. So I'm pretty sure that stepped up a little bit, especially experience. He has a lot of fights in professional level, so hopefully that helps out a lot. His trainers, go ahead and talk about his trainers. He has a father and son combination. I'm not sure who they trained before. I haven't looked it up, I'm not gonna lie. And they do show some good skills, some good training. Nothing spectacular. Nothing to show me that they're one of the best trainers out there. But one of the things that doesn't show me that real good about them is that why didn't he train Canelo? That being his biggest fights against Mayweather. Anybody's at this towards the end of Mayweather's career. Anybody that fight Mayweather knows Mayweather moves to the side. He people say he runs, but he actually moves us. Probably the only time I seen him run was against De La Hoya, but he moves laterally. He uses the ring, and Canelo didn't train him how to cut the ring. I don't know what they were thinking about. This young guy, he's able to do that, train him, and keep on training him, even though he think I'll probably fight Mayweather that kind of style in a while. Keep on training him. He still needs to cut the ring because he's gonna need to learn how to cut the ring against Cotto. Cotto knows that he don't know how to cut the ring, so he's gonna use that against him. Cotto's real smart. So Canelo and his training camp needs to step it up and put that in there in his training camp. Canelo's trainers look like they do love the sport, but is that enough to help him push Canelo to be the best fighter he could be? And at a young age, right now, probably there's not much of a factor compared to other fighters right now out there, but he probably needs to look at that in the future. If he looks real poorly against Cotto, that's going to be another fight that he doesn't look good against a top fighter. Now let's get to his opponents. I don't know if a lot of people go by opponents, but I go by opponents. It just shows them where they're at, the competition level they're fighting at, and where the other opponents are at in their career. And good thing that they have fighters that fought both of them, if I could compare them to. And one of the things, let's go ahead and just talk about the last couple of fights. I'm going to start off with Miguel Cotto. The last 5-6 fights he had against Daniel Gil, who he's a good fighter, he's a decent fighter, but he's not there. He was basically used as a warm-up for the Canelo fight. It was an obvious win for Cotto, but if he would have lost or had trouble with him, I wouldn't have thought so much great of him. But Miguel Cotto ended up winning the fight with the KO. And then the year before that, he fought against Sergio Martinez. Sergio Martinez already gone down in his career. He had problems already. He hasn't been looking too good. And he was having troubles before with fighters like Chavez Jr. and Murray. He was already struggling. So when Miguel fought him, that was his last fight. It was totally over. So it wasn't really that much to get out of it. Even though he did look real good against Sergio Martinez, it still didn't show what he was supposed to be at. Because when I saw that fight, I was like, well, that's it. Fuck it. Bullshit. And then before that, he fought Devin Rodriguez, who wasn't really a top contender even, man. But he was somebody out there who had a couple of wins. Go there and get another fight before I guess to fight Sergio Martinez. And the reason he fought Devin Rodriguez just to have a good win after he lost against Austin, no doubt, Trout. I don't know what happened with that fight. Miguel Cotto lost. He got outboxed. Austin Trout was no chump. He still competed up in that still high level. He's still up there. And right now he's still coming back. So it was no chump. He lost against Austin Trout. But Miguel Cotto being the fighter he is, he never thought it was against somebody like Austin Trout. I guess nothing against Austin Trout. It's just that Austin Trout wasn't there yet. But he did look good in his previous fights. And he was able to get the shot of title with Miguel Cotto. On the Mayweather fight, it was actually a closer fight it was like 117, 111. There's a lot of rounds. There were real close rounds, but they just happened to give those rounds to Mayweather. And that's why you see a big majority gap in between it. And when you see the fight, it was actually a real close fight. Because you can't tell me Maidana did a better job than Cotto did. Just in the later rounds, Cotto wasn't able to go ahead and just throw those punches when he was near Mayweather. And Mayweather was able to use his reach and stay outside and throw that crazy right hand he does. He was landing pretty good right hands on Miguel Cotto. It was a close fight. I thought it was a close fight. People might disagree, but it's just the way the judges. It's like saying that Tim Bradley whipped Pacquiao's ass in the first fight. It's not true. You saw Pacquiao beat Tim Bradley, but somehow the judges got Tim Bradley the win against Pacquiao in the first fight. And then you saw the second fight, Pacquiao won again against Tim Bradley. Even though the first fight was more of an ass whooping, Pacquiao did Bradley than the second fight. But like I said, judges. Let's go ahead and talk about Canelo's opponents. And Canelo's opponent's last fight we saw, it was a pretty good third round fight. It was action packed, but James Kirkland's not really a great fighter. He's just a slugger that everybody likes to see win. It was nothing spectacular of the James Kirkland. But he was able to do an exciting 3-round fight, which a lot of people wanted to see, and that's what they did. It happened here in Houston, but I didn't pay for that shit. I was watching HBO. But, yeah. And before that, he came off of a win-loss against Lara, Alexander Lara, one of the Cuban fighters. He's actually trains here in Houston also, and he's a real good boxer. He's real slick. And, again, after a Floyd Mayweather fight, he did not learn how to cut the ring. Lara, he used that against Canelo and make Canelo real bad. And basically, a lot of people thought Lara won the fight, which he probably could have got it. But one of the things I saw Lara doing, he didn't move like Mayweather. He actually was running from Canelo, and that's kind of sucks. You know, that's probably why he didn't get that win. And he got a good long reach. Lara got a good long reach. Got some nice right hand. He's just not that aggressive. He don't got that killer instinct. You saw this last fight he had. He got the guy beat. You know, he could have knocked him out anytime he wanted to if he got a little bit aggressive, but no, he went out the rounds. And that's something that a lot of people don't want to see, and that's something that doesn't show that he's trying real hard to beat that fighter, you know. But Canelo didn't look so great in that fight, even though he got the win. I was so disappointed on his the way he didn't prepare for this fight, knowing that Lara is a real good slick boxer, and that's one of the things they were trying to do is probably just see how he does against him if we could get a rematch with Mayweather later on. He didn't look that good, so they kind of pushed off on the Mayweather fight, I'm pretty sure. And but I didn't actually score that fight. I was just looking at it and just disappointment of Canelo was losing. I thought he lost. I mean, I thought they were going to give the fight to Lara, but they gave it to Canelo. And oh well. But at the same time, I didn't really look at the fight. He probably did good in some rounds, and I didn't look at it. I was just disappointed in the performance that Canelo had. And before that, he fought Alfredo Angulo. Basically, it's just like it was almost like James Curtin. One of the popular fights he has against James Curtin when he had him beat, knocked down the first round. And he went at him trying to knock down James Curtin. And next thing you know, James Curtin knocked Angulo down. Angulo down like on the pedal because he's tough like a dog. He's tough. He's good. He slugs it out a lot. He does have power punches, but when you find somebody a little bit more skilled, you know, the power punches are not gonna get through as much. So yeah, Canelo won that fight, 10-round knockout. Not a big name of a fighter for that, but he just came off the loss. Before that, he came off the loss with Mayweather. They actually had that one as a closer fight. We saw one card was 114, which I didn't think is a draw. I think Mayweather just outboxed him, kept at his distance, moved around a lot. He didn't really run. While Canelo was expecting him to fight toe-to-toe, why he's going to fight toe-to-toe? He's been fighting like that since Castillo Mayweather won. So he didn't look so great. Again, he was still young. He was like 23 at the time, so he still had a lot to learn. And you know, if you get that money and get the money early, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. I'm not sure if he would be able to fight Mayweather later on if he didn't take that fight earlier, but Mayweather did a good thing and then go ahead and fight him because he got a little bit more recognition again. He got a good lick of money at that time. And it's Canelo just a learning experience. You don't have to have a perfect record to be a legendary fighter. And that's a lot of fighters have proved that before. Muhammad Ali, he got so many losses, you know, but he's still one of the biggest. He's the biggest icon in boxing. And Mayweather thinks, you know, he's able to be better. A greater fighter, a greater icon than maybe Muhammad Ali, but it's not going to happen. He needs to fight the toughest opponents at the time they're on their peak and their prime, and not wait for them to get old and try to fight them then, which he does have an advantage. Even though he's kind of getting old, he does have advantage because of his boxing style. That's in a way that's pretty smart, but that's not really what boxers is about. You know, boxers is about fighting the best. That's what UFC fighters do, and that's what they come out to be. That's what Dana White promotes. So that's why one of the reasons why. The UFC looks like they're doing better than boxing, but boxing fighters still get paid pretty good money. But yeah, Canelo didn't look so good. Mayweather, but at the same time, you got to learn from that experience. And it looked like he learned that after fighting Mayweather. He didn't look like he learned that because when he fought Lara, he was doing the same shit he was doing against Mayweather. And that's what I say. His training camp needs to do something, or he needs to do something himself. But hopefully that shit changes because he's going to fight another tough fighter, Miguel Cotto. Which if he's going to catch him sipping like that, he's going to be using that shit against him. So he got to get his shit together. And before that, what helped him get Mayweather fight was actually he beat the guy he's gonna fight. He beat Austin Trout. Knocked down the 7th and won by unanimous decision. That's what helped him get the fight. And that's comparing one of the fighters that Cotto lost to. And basically Canelo just did a way better job. And something was wrong with Miguel Cotto that he wasn't able to get that win from Austin Trout. It's one of the things I look at in the past 5-6 fights before they fight a great fighter, just to see who they fight and where they fight at. And it looks like right now Canelo has fighted better opponents because he got even though he lost against Mayweather, he still had another tough fight against Lara. and beat Alcantara, who beat Cotto, and he fought Angulo, which is another a tough fighter. Then he compared the last fighter he fought with James Kirkland, which everybody knows is a tough fighter, but kind of somewhat dangerous. And you already know the way he fought that fight. You already knew that he was able to get tagged or anything like that by James Kirkland, and something could have happened bad to him. And so he took that chance, and then he got that done. Even though Cotto, he knocked out Gil, it just didn't. It's just that guy didn't show no threat, because you already know he wasn't a power puncher. But going to previous fights, I'll go with Canelo. He only had one loss against Mayweather. He could have had a second loss against Lara, but that's the kind of level of fighters he's been fighting in the past couple of fights. And Miguel Cotto, even though he fought Sergio Martinez was already going down, and he fought Mayweather a while back. Besides those two fighters that Miguel Cotto had, he really didn't have nothing in between. Canelo had a more of a tougher opponent than Cotto did, and it does kind of help him out. It kind of push him up a level. It doesn't mean that it's guaranteed he's going to win because he had tougher opponents. It just trying to show where they're at. At least you know he's up in his toes, and he's not he's not trying to take the easy way out. Miguel Cotto, I can't disagree with him trying to take the easy way out. He's a little bit older. He needs to get wiser. He wants to make that money and just retire and have a good living. Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with that. He did have tougher opponents in his previous fights, and throughout his career he had a lot of great fighters. So yeah, I can't argue with Cotto trying to take the easy way out. So going back at it, the categories I went for is defense conditioning, offensive speed, boxing intelligence trainer, and opponents. And on defense, I give it a Cotto. Conditioning, they're both the same. They're both even. Offense speed, I give it a Canelo because high energy, his youth, and his power punches. He throws a lot, explosiveness, which doesn't mean Cotto doesn't have that either. Just that Canelo shows more of it and doesn't look like he's going down anytime soon. Boxing intelligence and trainer, I give that to Cotto. Cotto's a way much better technical fighter, smart fighter in the ring, even in training camp. He does have the better trainer. And then going for opponents, and basically I just went back the previous 5 fights. If we went down to Miguel Cotto's whole career, he has tougher opponents. But we're going to the last previous 5 fights, 6 fights, and I give it to Canelo. Cotto was, like I say, he was trying to get, I won't say take the easy way out, but he was taking a safer route, trying to go in his way to end his career. By going through all that stuff, by telling you everything, the winner is going to be Canelo Alvarez, 12th round decision. Don't think it's going to be KO. If Canelo wins, I don't think it's in the KO unless something, a big drop off from Miguel Cotto. They're both going to start off real careful in the beginning rounds. You're going to see more combinations coming from Canelo, which it depends what's going to happen, how Miguel Cotto's going to react. He's going to go ahead and defense, his smart defense way, and trying to go ahead and deflect that and counter punch. Or he's just going to take it and just get old overnight and get hit. Even though I say he's getting old overnight, I mean, he just still showed a little bit of older Miguel Cotto, but still a great fighter. I just think age, man. I just when it comes down to it, I just think the age is going to take it. I'm not saying just because I'm a Mexican, but he doesn't have the defense. He got the basic defense. His condition is he's just the same. You get high level punching. He don't get tired, and it's just gonna kind of hard to see if Miguel's gonna be able to take that. And he did beat a fighter that did beat Cotto, which helps out a lot. He fight tougher opponents. You know he can take a punch. The way that Cotto's going to be able to win the fight if he actually boxes him out, which he is going to box him out, but for how long he's going to hold that out, because Canelo's going to come at him with a lot of punches, a lot of high energy, and going to be explosive punches, going to be heavy punches, going to be power punches, and just trying to see how his body was able to react to it. He talks about him feeling older every once in a while, and you know he did fight a lot of wars earlier in his career, which he's able to wear him down. So he's fighting a tougher. He hasn't fought a fighter like that since Mayweather, and it's just a different style too, because Mayweather doesn't throw that many punches. You saw Miguel Cotto also get a little bit tired chasing Mayweather, and Mayweather wasn't throwing that many punches. So trying to see him going backwards or him moving side to side, with Canelo throwing a lot of power punches. So I think that's why he's going to do it. I still think Canelo has got the hang of it, of him throwing a lot of punches and getting those KOs like he's supposed to in the early rounds or even the middle rounds. So I think that's why he's going to go ahead and go 12 rounds. Also because of Miguel Cotto's defense and his boxing skills, he is going to keep him at bay for a certain time. How long does that last? Don't know, because he might get older overnight. I never would say that just because you're older, you're going to fucking lose against a younger guy. Canelo's gonna fight a little bit smarter and not go all wild, because he does know Miguel Cotto, or at least the training camp, his training team should know that Miguel Cotto doesn't take advantage. He's a real smart fighter. That's one of the things that Canelo's gonna watch out for. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a real good fight. November 21st, pay-per-view. I might miss my friend's wedding. Well, I'm gonna go to the church and get some grub and probably miss some of his dancing, the reception of the dance, whatever they do at the end of the night. But if not, I can always watch the next day. It's just better just to watch it live, just the energy, not knowing what's gonna happen. Just the live is just better. The only thing that I don't like about this fight, and even if whoever wins, Cotto or Canelo, it's not the guarantee they're gonna fight Triple G. And that was one of the big reasons that it's going to be one of the biggest fights, because now you're trying to merge all the top 160 pounders. You know, one of those two fighters have balls and go against the promoter and say, no, I want to fight Triple G. I want to fight the best one out there. Triple G, he's 33 years old. He's not getting any younger. And I'm not saying he's going to get older overnight, but that waiting, that's frustrating. He's still kind of fresh. He hasn't fought that many big fighters. Triple G is going to want to fight somebody real quick, real soon. So we'll see what happens with that. He got different promotions than these other guys. He got the European promotions, K2 promotions, and they got Rock Nation, and Oscar De La Hoya over here trying to fight Tim Brady and Bob Arum fighter. So it's kind of hard to see what happens with that, but it would be great. It was a guaranteed fight for Triple G. It's gonna be a real good fight. Check it out, November 21st, and hopefully this fight gets you amped up about boxing and get you back in it. Also, if you haven't had a chance, check out my pound for pound list. I did this back in June. That's 2015. I listed the top 5 pound for pound fighters I have out there as of June 2015. It's still almost close to it, because some of the fighters haven't fought yet, and they are going by activity. I ain't going by what they did the past 2-3 years. Go ahead and check it out. Leave that link down below, and check out my Instagram at boxing, AMPD boxing, for some updates and some vids and information. Shit, man. Instagram. And thank you for that boxing.